Hello everyone, welcome to the video, and today we're going to be talking about an Apex Predator Advanced Horizon guide for you guys. If you are trying to get to the next level, this is going to be the perfect guide for you on Horizon, as well as if you're just a beginner, this is also going to be the perfect guide for you. But before we get into the video, I would like to ask you guys to not only drop a sub here, but to follow me on Twitch. I would really appreciate it, and it would help me out so much. So let's get right into the video. So the first thing we always go over when we're talking about our guides is the Legend's actual abilities. So Horizon's first ability is her passive. This is called Spacewalk, and this basically allows you to completely ignore Fall Stagger, and it allows you to get more control while midair. So the next ability we have up is her tactical, which is called the Gravity Lift, and this basically, it says it reverses the flow of gravity, lifting players upwards and boosting them outwards as they exit. And last but not least, we have her ultimate, which is called the Black Hole. This basically sucks enemies in, and it pulls them much like a black hole. It's basically a mini black hole, and it is very effective for a lot of different reasons. So the first thing we talk about is obviously her passive. So like I said, her passive completely ignores Fall Stagger. So you're basically able to slide out of any fall that would normally stagger any other legend. So this is very effective, especially on the new map with the gravity cannons. Whenever you're taking gravity cannons across, you're going to be able to slide through, especially if there's another team there. If you want to push them on the gravity cannon, you can slide right past them. And it's usually ideal for the Horizon to go first, just because you can slide right past them, get all of their attention, and then when your team follows up, they'll be able to shoot them in the back very easily. So this also works if you're dropping from far heights. There's a lot of buildings on every single map and high spots where you're going to be staggered, but you can pretty much land directly on an enemy and slide right behind them, so you really minimize the risk of getting absolutely fried the second you hit the ground, like every other legend in the game, because they're going to be standing still. So Horizon really shines when you're just landing on an enemy, because you can, like I said, slide and shoot them for absolutely free, while they will not be able to track you since you won't be standing still upon falling. Horizon's passive is also amazing if you can maximize your own movement. Especially if you're on PC and mouse and keyboard, you can tap strafe a lot easier with Horizon in general. And one of the biggest tips I can give you guys for maximizing her potential is to maximize your own movement, because you're going to be able to benefit so much from her passive in general if you can get your movement to be really good. So practice your movement whenever you're playing Horizon, and you'll be able to absolutely master her passive very easily. So the next ability we have for Horizon is her tactical, which is the Gravity Lift, and basically this is absolutely one of the best parts of her kit, and it allows you to take high ground for absolutely free. If you want to push a building, you can push the building very easily, but if there is an enemy team on it, it is definitely still the best way of taking height from an enemy team, because you could just lift up your entire team and land directly on the enemies, but you just want to be a little bit careful of it. So a lot of mistakes I see from Horizons is that they'll lift up directly in front of a team, and the first person that goes up the lift, usually the Horizon, will get absolutely team shot and beamed and killed instantly, and then the entire push is pretty much useless. So if you are using the tactical to go up on an entire enemy team, you just want to make sure that you're doing it from an angle that they're not looking. Or you could also pair it with other legends like Pathfinder, where a Pathfinder will put a zip somewhere else, and then while they're watching the zip, you can lift behind them and shoot them in the back a little bit, and then your team could take the zip line once they're focused on you. So you just want to make sure that if you are lifting up your entire team and you're not pairing with any other legends, you just want to make sure that you're going up and only going up from an angle in which the enemy is not staring at you. If you see all three members of the team staring at the way you're going up, you're not going to live. It's not going to be an effective push, and you just want to avoid that simple mistake, because it will get you killed and it will get your entire team killed. So another useful way of using the tactical is to use it kind of like a sniper tower. So this is my favorite way of using it as well. So basically it's where you lift up and you're able to pretty much fry somebody for free, because you have that high ground, you're just going up, and it's a pretty predictable pattern, and you're able to shoot the enemy because they usually stand still. So you're able to fry people incredibly easy with this. It's really effective if you pair it with weapons like the R301, the L-Star, the Rampage, or the Hemlock. Any kind of like automatic weapon like that that has high DPS, you're going to be able to absolutely fry people, but you just want to be careful, because there is another mistake that people make a lot, and this is lifting up in front of an entire team. Again, you are going to get team shot, so you just want to make sure that you're only lifting up in front of one person, so that when you have that 1v1, you can fry them very easily. I also like to pair these weapons with a 2x instead of a 3x, because I play on lower sensitivity. If you play on high sensitivity, this is not going to be a problem for you, but for me, if I use the 3x and I lift up too close to them, I will not be able to track them fast enough, since I'm going up in the lift, and when I'm moving down on my analog stick, I'll not be able to shoot them as well as I would like to, and I usually can't shoot them until I get to the top of my lift, while they're able to get free shots on me the entire way up. So that's just one of the reasons I prefer a 2x. Like I said, if you have low sensitivity like me, it's going to help you out a lot, but if you have high sensitivity, you don't really need to worry about it, but you will need some pretty high sensitivity to be able to track them effectively, especially when you're up close with a 3x. So another really good way of using her tactical, which is probably the best way in my opinion, is using it to heal. So a lot of times I will take the lift up, shoot on the entire way up, and like I said, it's pretty easy to track a Horizon on the lift, so that's why you want to implement a nice little strafe, but you're going to be hit regardless. So on the way down, this is where I like to hit a battery. Right at the top, right as I'm falling, I like to hit a battery, and you're usually about halfway through the battery by the time you even hit the ground, and when you pair it with her passive, you're able to slide out and kind of like do a little bunny hop and get to cover. So you basically get a free battery off. It's really effective for frying an enemy, landing, being full health again, and just taking on 1v3s in general. You're going to see a lot more success if you use this method, because you'll be full health for the next enemy, and whereas you won't have another lift, you've still improved your odds of winning the team fight by a lot and helped your team out a lot. So you just want to make sure that you're always trying to hit heals when you're on your lift in general. On the way down, you know, you might as well, because even if it's just 1 cell or 2 cells, it's going to be a big difference maker, especially if you have gold shield. Horizon's really good with gold shield because you can hit 1 cell and you get 50 HP back, so it could help you out a lot for the next fight. Another really good way of using Horizon's lift is to use it indoors. So if you are in a fight indoors and you're kind of getting slapped up a little bit, you can throw the lift down and just get wild with the movement, just kind of go all over the place. It's going to be very hard for them to shoot you since it's a very enclosed space, and you're going to be able to buy yourself a lot of time. You can even probably get a sell off or even reload your weapon, and it could potentially shift the fight. But this is kind of like a last resort kind of thing. You never really want to be in a situation like this, but if you have to do it, using the lift indoors can shake things up enough to buy you enough time to do what you need to do. And another use of the lift is using it on doors. If you throw it directly on a door and there's an enemy on the other side of the door, it will launch them off of it and you will be able to open the door, and you could slide through. It's very difficult to do it, but you could get inside of that building once you launch the enemy off the door. But like I said, it's very difficult, and you could find yourself in a position where you're locked in that room with like potentially an entire team. So you just want to be very careful. It's a very risky method of doing it, but it can throw an enemy off a door, even if you just want to throw nades through it. But once again, be careful, because the nades will be lifted up through the lift, so it's very tricky to get this right. But if you guys practice it enough, you'll be able to eventually master it. So last but not least, we have Horizon's ultimate, and this is the black hole, which is very effective when paired with grenades. So basically, the way I like to use black holes, I like to lift up in front of somebody and then throw it on them, and that way if an entire team is looking at you, you can just throw the black hole on them, jump out of it, or just spam grenades into the black hole. So this is why pairing grenades is very effective, because when it pulls in all 3 members and you get a really nice black hole, you're able to pretty much blow up an entire team, especially with arc stars and frag grenades and thermites. All of the players are going to be clumped together, so one arc star is literally going to break every single shield of everyone that's pulled into the black hole. So it's very effective to pair her with grenades, and it's always nice as a Horizon main. You just want to make sure that you're keeping a couple grenades on you, whether it be frag grenades or arc stars. I prefer arc stars just because they have a lot more range, and if they hit a shield, they pretty much do max damage from a very far range away. So even if they are running out of the black hole, they're still going to be hit by it. They're going to be stunned. And then when you paired with the gravity lift, you can land directly on top of them and get a free knock or 2 free knocks or an entire team wipe, because none of them will have shields, and it's very effective when you use it this way. So however, there is another way of using it, and this is to break down doors. So a lot of times, I'm sure you guys are aware, in Apex Legends, people like to sit behind doors. So a good way to counter this with Horizon is to throw your ultimate a little bit to the right or left of the door. It will completely break the door and pull them right into the wall, so you can immediately run directly in the room, and they will be stuck to the wall, so you get a pretty much free 1 clip on them. This is one of the better ways of using it, and I don't see people using her ultimate like this a lot, but it is a very effective way of countering people that will just sit on doors while they're trying to hit a battery, because it's going to break down the door immediately and pull them directly into a wall, and they're not going to be able to move. So like I said, it's a free 1 clip, and it's going to change the fight in your team's favor dramatically. One thing to note about her ultimate as well is that it does not only pull in players, it will pull in vehicles as well. So if you ult a car perfectly, it will keep the car completely stationary. You will not be able to go anywhere, so you can fry an entire team out of a car if you hit the right black hole on it, and the car will not be able to get out of the black hole until it is completely done or destroyed. So if you use it on a car, it is a little bit difficult to land it perfectly, because cars, they move very fast in this game. So but if you can land it, it is going to basically allow you to completely kill that team unless they jump out, and even if they jump out, all 3 of them are going to be stuck in it. So this is where nade spam works very well. Her ultimate is also really good paired with a couple other Legends ults, like Bangalore. A lot of times people will try to hide in between a spot where there's not any missiles, and they'll usually get away with it. But if you throw a black hole like directly on somebody, it will pull them into like 2, 3, or even 4 missiles, and it will absolutely destroy an entire team. It also works really well with Gibraltar ults because they won't be able to get out of the radius of the ult and they'll just get destroyed by it. So having a little bit of coordination with your teammates and running legends that also pair really well with Horizon will work out. A couple other situations where her ult is incredibly effective is indoors. If you throw it in a room where there's an entire team, they're going to get pulled all over the place. This is where the nade spam comes in as well. You just want to kind of throw it in a position where they won't be able to all three shoot at it though. So it could be a little bit tricky. A lot of times people don't even shoot the ult in general, but if you're going up against smarter players, they're going to try to shoot it immediately. So this is why throwing it maybe on the outside of a building and then they all get pulled to that wall. It's a little bit more difficult, and usually people won't shoot at it because they don't really know how to play against Horizon. But in general, you know, if you want to be smart with it and you're in higher level lobbies, you just want to throw it like on the outside of the wall. It will pull everyone in. It has a pretty big radius and it does work through walls, so that's something to familiarize yourself with. But a lot of times people won't be able to shoot it in time. The damage will be done. You know, it's nice to have your teammates carry nades as well, so just kind of call that out, because whenever you're throwing the ult, it's usually ideal for them to be throwing nades at that exact time, or even maybe a little bit before you throw the ult, because it does take a little bit of time to activate, and in that time they could shoot it and destroy it, but they will be pulled in initially. They most likely won't be able to destroy it before it pulls them in. But I think that's pretty much it for today's video. You know, sometimes I tend to forget a couple tips, so if there is a tip I forgot, make sure to comment below and I will pin the most useful one. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you next time.